I am sitting on my front porch right now looking at the house Megan and I bought together 5 years ago. The lawn is freshly cut. The paint is still bright. From the outside, everything looks perfect. But inside these walls, my marriage crumbled into dust. I gave her everything: my loyalty, my trust, my whole heart. She looked me in the eyes and told me she needed to explore real men. She thought I would just sit and wait. She never expected what happened next. Before I tell you how my wife destroyed our marriage and lost her mind when our neighbor chose me over her, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if stories about karma and unexpected twists speak to you, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you are going to want to stay for this one. Now let me take you back to where it all began. Megan and I met during our junior year at the University of Texas. She was studying marketing. I was deep into computer science. We bumped into each other at a campus coffee shop and something just clicked. She had this dark brown hair that fell past her shoulders and a laugh that could light up any room. Back then, she was optimistic about everything. She believed we could conquer the world together. I believed her. We dated through senior year and got married 2 years after graduation. I landed a remote job as a software engineer, and the income was solid enough for us to buy a modest home in a quiet suburb outside Austin. It had a small backyard, a 2-car garage, and a neighborhood where people still waved at each other. I thought we had made it. I thought we were building something permanent. Our daily life felt comfortable. I worked from my home office while Megan commuted to her job as a marketing coordinator. She traveled sometimes for work, which I never questioned. In the evenings, we would cook dinner together. On weekends, we binged shows on the couch. It was not glamorous, but it was ours. I was happy. I assumed she was too. Looking back, there were signs I chose to ignore. Megan started comparing our life to what she saw on social media. Her friends were posting vacations in Bali and engagement photos on yachts. She would scroll through Instagram with this look on her face, like our life was somehow less than. She began saying things like, "Life needs more excitement, and we should be doing more." I thought she meant traveling or trying new restaurants. I had no idea what she actually meant. She also started going to the gym obsessively, changed her wardrobe, bought clothes that were tighter, more revealing. I told myself she was just taking better care of herself. I even complimented her on it. I was proud of her. I did not realize she was preparing to leave me behind. The night everything changed was a Friday in late September. I had cooked us a nice dinner: steak with mashed potatoes and roasted asparagus. I even opened a bottle of wine. But Megan barely touched her food. She pushed the potatoes around her plate and avoided eye contact. When I asked if something was wrong, she set her fork down and said those 4 words that never lead anywhere good: "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. I followed her to the living room. She turned off the television and sat across from me, her hands folded in her lap. For a moment I thought she was going to tell me she wanted a divorce. I braced myself for it, but what came out of her mouth was somehow worse. "I want an open marriage." I just stared at her. The words did not compute. She kept talking, filling the silence with explanations I could barely process. She said she felt trapped. She said she needed to explore. She needed to know what else was out there. And then she said something I will never forget for as long as I live. "I need to experience real men, Dick. Men who are more adventurous, more exciting. You are just so comfortable." The way she said comfortable made it sound like a disease. Like being reliable and steady and faithful was something to be ashamed of. In that moment, I understood exactly what she meant. She was calling me boring. She was saying I was not man enough for her. I asked her if there was already someone else. She swore there was not. I did not fully believe her, but I was too stunned to push. She laid out rules like she had rehearsed this speech. We could both see other people. We had to be honest about it. No bringing anyone back to our house. And if either of us wanted to stop, we would stop. She made it sound so reasonable, so mature. I told her I needed time to think. She gave me a week. During those 7 days, I barely slept. I replayed every moment of our marriage, trying to figure out where I went wrong. I called my younger sister Lauren and told her everything. Her response was immediate and blunt. "Divorce her, tonight. She does not deserve you." but I could not do it. Not yet. Part of me wanted to give Megan the chance to realize her mistake. Part of me wanted to prove that if she went out there searching for something better, she would come back, understanding what she already had. It was foolish. I know that now. But love makes you do foolish things. After a week, I sat Megan down and told her I would agree to her terms. Her face lit up like I had just given her a gift. She hugged me and kissed my cheek and said I would not regret it. I already did. The first few weeks were brutal. Megan downloaded dating apps and started going out with her girlfriends to bars and clubs. Some nights she did not come home at all. I would lie awake in our bed staring at the ceiling, wondering whose bed she was in instead. She would return the next morning acting like nothing was wrong. Sometimes she even told me about her dates. Muscular guys, business owners, men who rode motorcycles and took spontaneous trips to Vegas. She described them like trophies. But as the weeks passed, her enthusiasm started to fade. The men she met were not what she expected. They wanted one thing and disappeared afterward. There was one guy in particular named Jake. Megan talked about him constantly for about 2 weeks. He was a personal trainer with a jawline that could cut glass. She thought he was different. Then he ghosted her without explanation. She actually cried about it. To me, her husband. The irony was suffocating. I watched all of this unfold in silence. I did not gloat. I did not say I told you so. I just observed my wife slowly realizing that the grass was not greener. It was just different grass, and most of it was dead. During this time, something else happened. Something I never anticipated. It was the second month of our arrangement when a moving truck pulled up to the house next door. The Thompsons, an elderly couple who had lived there for decades, had finally sold the place and moved to Florida. I was outside mowing the lawn when I saw her step out of the passenger side of a silver pickup truck. She was tall, maybe 5 feet 7 inches, with an athletic build that suggested she spent a lot of time outdoors. Her hair was black and hung down to her mid-back. Her skin had a healthy tan, like she was no stranger to sunshine. She wore simple clothes, jeans and a flannel shirt rolled up at the sleeves. No makeup, no jewelry, just natural beauty that did not need any enhancement. I walked over to introduce myself and offer help with the boxes. Her name was Natalie. She was 29 years old, a physical therapist who had just relocated from Colorado for a job opportunity in Austin. Her handshake was firm and her smile was warm. We talked for a few minutes about the neighborhood, and she asked about my wife. She is traveling for work, I said. It was easier than the truth. Natalie tilted her head slightly and smiled. You seem like a good neighbor. Not many people offer to help strangers anymore. I appreciate it. It was such a small comment, but it hit me harder than it should have. I could not remember the last time someone had said something genuinely kind to me. I carried a few boxes into her house and then went back to my mowing, but I could not stop thinking about that brief interaction. Over the following weeks, I started running into Natalie more often. She was a morning jogger, and I began running too. It started as a way to clear my head and escape the tension at home, but soon I found myself timing my runs to coincide with hers. We would jog together side by side, talking about everything and nothing. She told me about her love for hiking and rock climbing. She had summited 14,000-foot peaks in Colorado and kayaked through rapids in Utah. She was adventurous in all the ways Megan claimed I was not. The funny thing was, I had always wanted to try those things. Megan never showed any interest, so I never pursued them. But talking to Natalie made me realize how much I had shrunk myself to fit into my marriage. Natalie started to change how I saw myself. She complimented my cooking after I brought over a batch of brownies as a housewarming gift. She laughed at my jokes and actually listened when I talked. She asked me questions about my work, my hobbies, my dreams. For the first time in years, someone seemed genuinely curious about who I was. I began working out more consistently. Not to impress anyone, but because I wanted to feel strong again. My friend and coworker Travis noticed the change. He said I seemed more alive. I felt it too. Something inside me was waking up after a long sleep. Then came the inevitable collision. Megan came home early one afternoon and found me chatting with Natalie in our front yard. We were just laughing about something her dog had done. Nothing inappropriate. But the look on Megan's face told me she did not see it that way. She walked over and introduced herself with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Her voice was polite, but icy. After Natalie went back to her house, Megan turned to me with narrowed eyes. "She seems friendly," she said. The word friendly sounded like an accusation. From that day forward, Megan became obsessed with Natalie. She asked about her constantly. She watched through the window whenever Natalie left her house. She made snide comments about her appearance, claiming she was not even that pretty. The jealousy was obvious and desperate. The woman who wanted to explore real men was suddenly threatened by the idea that another woman might find her husband attractive. The hypocrisy was almost funny. Almost. The annual summer barbecue was a tradition in our neighborhood. Everyone brought food, set up lawn chairs, and spent the afternoon pretending we were all one big happy family. This year, Megan insisted we attend. I suspect she wanted to keep an eye on me around Natalie. The party was in full swing when we arrived. Kids ran through sprinklers. Neighbors gathered around grills. Megan immediately started working the crowd, laughing too loudly at jokes from the men and flipping her hair like she was auditioning for something. I grabbed a drink and found a quiet spot near the fence. That is where Natalie found me. We talked for a while about nothing serious. The weather, her new job, a hiking trail she wanted to explore. Then her expression shifted and she lowered her voice. "I know about your situation, Dick. Your wife mentioned something to Mrs. Henderson, and you know how fast gossip travels in neighborhoods like this." I felt my face flush with embarrassment. I did not know what to say. I started to apologize, though I was not sure for what. Natalie shook her head. "I am not here to judge you. I just wanted you to know something." She looked directly into my eyes. Her gaze was steady and sincere. "I think you deserve better. And if you were available, if things were different, I would not hesitate." My heart pounded against my ribs. No one had spoken to me like that in years. Maybe ever. I wanted to say something, but the words tangled in my throat. "I am still married," I finally managed. Natalie nodded slowly. "I know. And that is exactly why I respect you even more." She touched my arm briefly before walking away to refill her drink. I stood there frozen, processing what had just happened. Megan saw everything. She could not have heard our conversation from across the yard, but she watched the whole interaction. She saw the way Natalie looked at me. She saw the touch on my arm, and from the expression on her face, she was filling in the blanks with her worst fears. The drive home was silent. Megan gripped the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. I knew an explosion was coming. I just did not know when. The second we stepped through the front door, she unleashed. "So this is what you have been doing behind my back, sneaking around with that woman?" Her voice was shrill, almost hysterical. I remained calm, which only seemed to make her angrier. "We were just talking," I said evenly. "And remind me, who was it that wanted an open marriage? That is different." She practically screamed the words. "I did not think you would actually pursue someone like her." "Like her?" I asked. "Nothing happened, Megan. Unlike you, who has spent the last 2 months sleeping with strangers, I was exploring." Her defense was pathetic, and she knew it. "You were supposed to just wait." I let out a bitter laugh. "Wait? You wanted me to sit at home and wait while you explored real men. What exactly did you think would happen?" And then she said it. The words that shattered any remaining illusion. "I thought no one would want you." The silence that followed was deafening. Megan's hand flew to her mouth as if she could somehow shove the words back inside, but it was too late. The truth was out, hanging in the air between us like smoke from a fire that had finally burned through its last lie. "And there it is," I said quietly. "The truth." Something shifted inside me at that moment. The old version of me, the one who would have absorbed that insult and apologized for making her feel bad, was gone. In his place stood someone new, someone who refused to be diminished anymore. "You know what, Megan? You are right. Maybe no one would have wanted the old me. The version of me that let you walk all over him. The version that agreed to this circus because he was terrified of losing you. But that is not who I am anymore." "Dick." "Wait," she started. I held up my hand to stop her. "I am done." What do you mean done? I mean this marriage, this arrangement, all of it. I am done. She started crying then, begging, promising she would change, swearing she would delete the apps and never talk to another man again. 6 months earlier I might have believed her, I might have stayed, but I had spent too many nights alone in our bed. I had heard too many stories about Jake and the others. I had seen the real Megan, and I could not unsee her. I walked past her into our bedroom and pulled a duffel bag from the closet. I packed clothes, toiletries, my laptop. She followed me, grabbing at my arm, pleading. I gently removed her hand and zipped the bag. You wanted freedom, I said. Now you have it. All of it. I drove to my sister Lauren's apartment that night. She opened the door, took one look at my face, and pulled me into a hug without saying a word. She did not say I told you so. She just made up the couch and handed me a blanket. That night I slept better than I had in months. The first few weeks after I left were the hardest. I found a small apartment near my office and tried to establish a new routine. Cooking for one felt strange after years of making meals for two. The silence in the evenings was almost unbearable. Sometimes I caught myself reaching for my phone to text Megan before remembering there was nothing left to say. I hired a divorce lawyer and began the process of untangling 5 years of shared life. Megan called constantly. She left voicemails that ranged from apologetic to angry to desperate. She even showed up at Lauren's place once demanding to see me. I refused. Eventually I sent her one final message. Please respect my decision. From now on, all communication goes through our lawyers. The calls stopped after that. Healing did not happen overnight. I went to therapy for a few months. My therapist helped me understand that Megan's choices were not a reflection of my worth. I had spent years shrinking myself to keep her happy, and in the process, I had lost sight of who I was. It was time to rediscover that person. I threw myself into fitness. I joined a hiking group that Travis introduced me to and discovered a passion I never knew I had. Standing on top of a hill at sunrise, lungs burning from the climb, I felt more alive than I had in years. I reconnected with old friends Megan had never liked and made new ones who appreciated me for exactly who I was. About a week after I moved out, I received a text message from an unexpected sender. Heard you moved out. I am proud of you. It was Natalie. I stared at the screen for a long time before typing my response. Thank you. For everything. Her reply came quickly. When you are ready, if you ever are, you know where to find me. I did not rush into anything. I knew I needed time to heal before I could be good for anyone else. But knowing that possibility existed gave me something I had not felt in a long time. Hope. The divorce was finalized 8 months later. We sold the house and split the proceeds fairly. I did not fight for more than my share. I just wanted closure. I bought a smaller place with a nice backyard where I started a little vegetable garden. It was nothing fancy, but it was mine. Through mutual friends, I heard updates about Megan occasionally. She was still single. She had gone through several short relationships that never stuck. I did not feel satisfaction at her struggles. I did not feel anything at all. Her choices had led her to her own consequences. That was her journey, not mine. Natalie and I started dating about 6 months after my divorce was final. We took things slowly, building a foundation of friendship first. She understood that I carried wounds that needed time to heal, and she never pressured me. With her, I learned what it felt like to be truly seen and valued. It was different from anything I had experienced before. It was real. If I could share any wisdom from this experience, it would be this. Your worth is not determined by someone else's inability to see it. Megan looked at me and saw someone boring, someone comfortable, someone who was not enough. But her blindness was not my reality. It was hers. Marriage is not about possession or keeping someone trapped. It is about choosing each other every single day. The moment one person stops choosing you, have every right to choose yourself instead. That is not selfishness. That is survival. And sometimes the worst thing that happens to you turns into the best thing for you. Megan demanding an open marriage felt like a death sentence at the time. but it ended up being the key that unlocked the prison I did not even know I was living in. I am sitting on my new porch now as I share this story. Natalie just brought out 2 cups of coffee. She sat down beside me and we watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. Neither of us needed to fill the silence with words. We just existed together peacefully, contentedly. She wanted an open marriage to find real men. What she found was emptiness. What I found was myself. And sometimes that is the greatest gift someone can accidentally give you. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been underestimated by someone who was supposed to love you? Have you ever proven someone wrong just by becoming the best version of yourself? Share your story in the comments below. And if this video resonated with you, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another story. Share this with someone who might need to hear it today. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope wherever you are in your journey, you remember that you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness. Do not let anyone convince you otherwise. Until next time, take care of yourself. You deserve it.